Mohsin Hamid, the last white man, summary and analysis of chapter 5. Summary. As in the previous chapter, Anders' boss told Anders that he would have killed himself if he were in his place. The same happened in the town. A newspaper published the story. A brown man shot himself. It was assumed to be an act of defense. That a white man shot a dark man with the dark man's own gun. Additionally, it was said that both the white and dark men were the same. The mood in the town was changing, particularly the mood of Anders was altogether alarmingly changing. The stores were bare and roads were unpopulated. The days were shorter and leaves were no longer confident in their green. Anders' mood about everything was changed now. Anders remained silent ever since he became dark. He presumed as if he was acting a side role in a TV show, thus hoped for the role of centrality. If not centrality, then at least for role better than the peripheral one. Una's mother came to believe that everything about color change was true. She was afraid about the eradication of her kind of people. She prepared herself to do what she could do as possible. However, she needed some provisions but ran out of money. She was very frugal and economical about her budget. Anyway, she bought some provisions. Una tried to convince her mother, but her mother was certain about the pandemic of color change. They bought all the provisions in bulk that made Una alarmed and doubt. Una shared the happening of her mother's obsession with the prevalence of white people changing color and her hoarding of provisions with Anders. Anders too thought about stockpiling things. However, both Anders and Una were confused about whether things would settle down or not. In their conversation, Anders told Una that under the surface he was the real Anders, a white man. But it was challenging for him to face the people because people reacted quite differently. Interaction with people for Anders was like learning a foreign language, quite difficult, lacking sense of humor. Anders encountered a cleaning guy who was dark-skinned man. The time Anders changed, Anders realized that the same dark-skinned cleaning guy didn't look the way he was looking at Anders before. Anders would like to talk to him so that to learn how to stand on being a dark-skinned man. But he declined that idea out of his ambivalence. Una told Anders that her perceptions about him were fluctuating. Sometimes he didn't look different, other times he got varying images in her mind. However, in their day off, they both were walking and crossing the white boys. Anders and Una didn't know whether the stone thrown at them from the boy's side was by chance or it was all designed. Analysis of chapter 5. The first theme is hypersensitivity to color other than white. Being dark means inhuman, uncivilized, animal, and thus a savage. Therefore, the white man shoots himself, and above all, he is assumed to be an intruder who is shot by a white man. This shows the peak of racial discrimination based on color. Now it is getting hard for Anders to decide whether to be or not to be. He is torn between personal and cultural identity. Under the brown skin, he is a white Anders, but people around him are white, thus define him on the basis of his complexion. This kind of analysis can be supported by meshing up psychology with cultural study. That is, how society moves one and how personal psychological state struggles with those very social decorums. The second theme is centrality versus peripheral in light of post-colonialism. Of course, the issue of centrality and peripheral is at the heart of this novel. Dark people are pushed to the peripheral while white people are dominantly defined as the center. Regarding this, Anders is mentally prepared to have the role better than peripheral one. The worst case scenario is that people consider the color change as pandemic that will bring to an end the dominant white people in its culture. Una's mother is one of the frightened white people who feels threatened by the news of prevalence of color change. She thinks that the pandemic of color change is contagious, therefore she buys the provisions in bulk. Una knows that her mother is undoubtedly right about color change, therefore she hesitates to question her mother's sanity. So, even they are not ready to be pushed to the margin. Additionally, Anders reassures Una that he is real white Anders under the surface, dark outside though. He tries his best to interact with people, but people's perception about and treatment of dark people push him to the discomfort zone, throwing away from the certain to the margin. That results in his unfamiliarity with people. Being a dark man, interaction with white people for Anders is like learning new language, no matter how much he tries to be funny, but to no avail. In other words, he is now unfamiliar and alien to white people around him. Since he is dark, the line between familiar humor and the unfamiliar dark color is obliterated now. His dark skin doesn't let him to act properly to be real him. This level of hatred of dark skin is a social construct that is prevalent in white community. Anders knows all these discriminatory notes. The cringing feelings about dark people spreads among white people. People are scared and consider the prevalence of dark skin is an epidemic, as this will bring about lockdown. Therefore, people are hoarding all the necessary things, food, etc. Dark skinned people are compared with snake, dog, a pet, wild animals. Dark people are hidden threat to the abolition of white Eurocentric ideology and a danger to the white civilization. It is a storm that destroys everything and a back problem. This is how Mohsin Hamid has crafted entirely demonic description around the theme of racial discrimination based on color. All this can be explored from the perspective of post-colonialism. Thank you very much.